This summer during my internship and where I'm going to be working in the future, there's a boy in the youth group, and he's just one of those boys that you can't describe him with words. He's just one of those people that you got to meet. He's kind of like an awesome coach. You can't begin to even talk about who he is. You just got to meet him. Well, one thing about this boy is he has a lot of medical issues, and he has allergies and different things, and he has about 20 pages that are lists of things that he's allergic to. So whenever the youth group would go on long trips, we went on a retreat, he had to bring an EpiPen. His mom told me, she showed me and told me how to use it and stuff. Well, in Mississippi, they do what they call area-wise. And what that is once a month, all the youth groups in the local area will go to one church and they'll worship. Kind of like summer youth series here, winter youth series. So, one thing about Mississippi, and basically everywhere except Florence, is that there's not a Church of Christ every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. So area-wide meant we were going to a church an hour away. So we go to a church an hour away, we have area-wide, and after area-wide, they feed us. And, you know, you go through the fellowship line, you have the main food, then you have all the desserts that women have made. Just made themselves in their own little plates. One of those desserts was this chocolate thing that was surrounded by chocolate, but it had a bunch of stuff in the middle. And I got one because it looked amazing, and it was. Well, we go eat. We eat for a while. We're about done, and I'm sitting on the opposite side of the table as this boy. And I hear all the kids at the other end laughing, and they look at me and they say, "Luke just ate a pecan, and he is highly allergic to it." So they're all laughing, and I was like, I immediately went to panic mode. I tried not to show it. I didn't really know what to do. But he was laughing, he was fine, so I was like, okay, this is probably not that big of a deal. So I said, Luke, do you need a Benadryl? And he said, yes. So I went to a woman at the church, got a Benadryl, gave it to him. So I was like, all right, he's going to be fine. You got a Benadryl, it's probably not that big of a deal. Well, he goes out later, and I find him in the bathroom, and he's trying to throw up, but he can't. So I was like, all right, we're going to go home. We're going to get you to your mom. She's got the EpiPen. Everything will be good. So one thing about this boy is he's very dramatic. He just panics about everything. And so I didn't really know whether this was a huge deal or whether it was just one of those things, you know, he's trying to get attention or really didn't know what to do. So we're on the way home, and I see him. He's sitting in the front seat with me, and I see him just kind of start moving like this. And he's holding his chest, and I see that he's having trouble breathing, and you can literally see that his chest is closing up, and he can't breathe. So he says, pull over, I gotta throw up. So I pull over, he can't throw up, and I said, all right, get back in here, we're going to the hospital. I'm an intern, I'm not letting the boy die while I'm an intern, so get in here right now. And we go, and I looked up the hospital, it was about 10 minutes away, so we rushed in there. And the people, you know, wanted all of his information. I said, I don't know any of this. I'm just his youth minister. His parents are on the way, and they saw how bad it was and how he wasn't able to breathe. So they rushed him back there. They gave him the shots, and he was all good. I had to call his mom, and she was just in a panic. I said, he's fine. He's got his shots. Just take your time. He's all good. Well, the reason I'm sharing that story with you is because at first, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. And one thing about allergic reactions is an allergic reaction sometimes can just be, you get a little bitty rash, next day you're fine, or maybe you don't feel good. But then some allergic reactions, some people will just almost die immediately. This was one of those situations where his chest was closing up. And if we'd have just left him, of course, things probably wouldn't have been good. The reason I'm sharing that story with you is because, Jimmy, this is tonight's PowerPoint. Alright, so we will not use PowerPoint. The reason I'm sharing that story with you is because his allergic reaction went to the next level. And that is the title of our sermon this morning, The Next Level. The next level. A lot of athletes try to take their game, what they call, to the next level. I think about Damian Harris, who was running back for Alabama, and he had this problem that when he would break a long run, he would always get caught from behind. So he trained. That next year, no one could catch him once he got low in the field. And then I think about athletes. You think about a quarterback. People say, can he play at the next level? And in fact, when I was in high school, we had a company come train us in football. Their company was called The Next Level. In my years, I've been alive a long time, but in my years of preaching, you always hear that preachers preach what they need to hear. And I've learned that is so true. And this morning, I wasn't given a topic, so this is something that's been on my heart, something that I struggle with. If you're like me, sometimes I feel like I'm accomplishing nothing spiritually. Literally nothing. I feel like I don't grow. I feel like I'm not helping anyone. I feel like I'm letting God down. I feel like I get in ruts sometimes where I literally accomplish nothing. And I'm not growing. And I'm not maturing. And what we read this morning in Hebrews 5:11-14 is we see that your spiritual life should grow into solid food. You start out with milk, right? When you're baptized. Well, I don't want to go to hell. I know Jesus is the Son of God. I want to go to heaven. And this is what I need to do. So you got that milk, and that's great. And then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to grow up. It's supposed to be more than that. It's supposed to be, okay, I love God. I realize who He is, and I want to praise His name. I want to tell people about Jesus. And you grow up. But sometimes, I feel like in my life, and a lot of lives, that we're just eating baby food. And we're just continually eating baby food. We get baptized, and we do that step, and we continue to go to church, but we're just eating baby food. Because all we do is we come to church, we go home, we say some prayers when we eat, we say a few individual prayers. There's never really any actual growth. So this morning, what I want to do is I want to look at the greatest sermon ever. And no, it's not what I'm about to give, it's what Jesus gave in Matthew chapter 5. So if you have a Bible, open up to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Now, I know a lot of people don't use Bibles while the preacher preaches. And the verses will not be on the screen this morning. So this is me asking you, please get a Bible out. If you don't have one, get one in front of you. If you have a phone, that's great. I'll use my phone Bible all the time. But what we're going to do this morning is we're going to be looking at an entire chapter. So I think a phone would make things difficult. So get a Bible out and open up to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. We're going to start reading in verse 21. You have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder. Whoever murders will be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to counsel. Whoever says you fool will be liable to hell of fire. So if you are offering your gift at the offering there, remember that your brother has something against you. Leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser. You are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly I say to you, you will never get it out until you have paid the last penny. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than your whole body into hell. It was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of sexual immorality, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But I say to you, not take an oath in all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him also the other. If anyone will sue you, take your tunic and let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you. Do not refuse the one who would borrow from you. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes the sun rise on the evil and on the good, and It sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Now I know that was a long reading, but I wanted to just simply read what Jesus said, because Jesus can say it better than I could even begin to imagine. Did you notice a pattern in what Jesus was doing? Did you notice a pattern? He started out every one of these with, you have heard it was said, or it has been said, or you've also heard it said. Something simple like that. Notice that it's in verse 21, verse 27, 31, 33, 38, and 43. Jesus starts out every one of these with this statement. Now in preaching, there's a lot of different ways that people preach, but no one can argue that they're better preachers than Jesus. And Jesus does the same thing every single time. Why does he do this? Because Jesus is on this earth, and he is taking Christianity to the next level. He says, you've heard it was said, and that's how it was, that's how they lived. But I say this. So the first thing that Jesus does is he takes away the old law, and he comes and establishes his law. And this is a big deal. We really can't understand it, but for them, this was a huge deal, because they have done this for years and years and years. And here's Jesus coming and completely knocking it out and making his own, fulfilling the law, taking it to the next level. When you think about being stuck, not taking your Christianity to the next level, that's because we get in a pattern. We get in a pattern, and we do the same thing over and over. We go to work, come home, we go to church 3 times a week, once a week, twice a week, do that pattern, and it just really begins to not really mean anything. Our Christianity doesn't grow. So what I want to do this morning is this chapter as a whole. I want to look at it, and I want to see how we can take our Christian life to the next level. Point number 1 this morning is that Jesus makes it not just physical, but about the heart. You see all of these different things. The first one, you have said, you shall not murder. Whoever murders, you will be liable to judgment. A physical act, right? Don't murder. What does Jesus do? No, he takes it further. And he says, everyone who is angry with his brother. Jesus doesn't just make it about your physical acts. He makes it about your heart. Notice that he says you should not commit adultery, the physical act. But no, Jesus says you should not even look at someone else with intent or with lust. Jesus makes it about the heart. If you want to know why your Christianity isn't on the next level, I'm speaking to myself more than any of you. Why our Christianity is stuck on the same level is because it's nothing but about the physical side of being a Christian sometimes. I showed up here this morning. I got here. That's physical. All you see me here. I go home or I go to school. I pray before I eat. Physical. You see it. But no one sees what happens in here. And that's what Jesus is trying to point out. Is that it's not just about what you do. It's about how you feel while you do it. Come here to church this morning. It's not just the fact that you walked in this door and you took the communion. It's where your heart was at while you did those things. It's not about just eating the bread and drinking the juice. It's about what your heart felt while you did it. Your life is not just about the physical acts that you do. It's about your intent, how you feel, the heart that you have in life. Point number 2 is that Jesus takes following God to another level. And really what Jesus does in Matthew chapter 5 is he makes being a Christian hard. He makes it hard. It really shouldn't be, but it is. Right? You look at the first one, anger. Hopefully, it's easy not to murder people. That is something that's easy to do. I never wanted to murder anyone. Getting angry with someone, that's hard. It's hard not to do that. You think about not committing adultery. If you love your spouse, that is not something that is challenging to try to not commit adultery. But looking at someone with the wrong intent, that's hard. It's difficult. It says you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. That's easy. Love the people that love me, don't like the ones that don't. But no, Jesus says, love everyone. Love your enemy. Jesus makes being a Christian hard. You know why we get stuck where we are and we don't grow? We don't get that solid food? Because sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's difficult. And we don't want to work. We don't want to have to make sacrifices. We want life to be easy. This world is about being easy. It's about having that phone that you can do something in 1 second. Life is always about getting easier, making things more easier. Guess what? Being a Christian will never be easy. Until the day Jesus comes and we are in heaven, it will never be easy. It will always be difficult. And it will always be hard. At Henderson, there's a university-led service at 5:45. And the theme of that service this semester is things I wish Jesus wouldn't have said. Things I wish Jesus wouldn't have said. And the whole point of that is it's things that Jesus said that are difficult for us to do. You know where almost all of those come from? Right here in Matthew chapter 5. It's Jesus makes being a Christian hard. And I'm telling you right now, if you want your Christianity to go to the next level, you have got to make sacrifices. And life will be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everyone. Anyone can be average. Anyone can do these things that Jesus said. The first part of all these little points. Anyone can do those. But it takes a true follower of God to do all the other things. The third point this morning is that Jesus makes it not just about what others see, but about seeing yourself. This is one of the hardest things for me at this point. Because you see me this morning and you might think, Shaler's doing so good, he's going to school, and he's studying, he's doing a great job, and the people at New Albany see me, and they think I'm such a great example for the kids. But no one knows what's in here but me. No one knows what's inside of your heart but you. What Jesus does, as he said, it's not just about what others see. It's about what you see in yourself. We go back to the very first one, murdering. People can see that I don't murder. People don't see how I feel about my anger. People don't see all the different things in all these different verses. This is why we cannot be at the next level. Because it's so easy as a person to cover up. Cover up. You can come here on Sunday and everything can seem fine. You can leave here and no one will know a thing. No one will know that you're sinning. No one will know what's going on in your life because it's so easy to cover up. And that's why we go back to point number one. It's not just about physical. It's about your heart. So what I want you to think about is, are you proud of yourself, the way you've lived? Because Jesus says that it's not just about what other people see. It's about yourself, how you feel, your intentions. Point number 4 is that Jesus makes good, not good enough. All of these deeds here are great deeds, right? You shouldn't murder. You shouldn't commit adultery. He says if you divorce, give a certificate of divorce. If you swear, right, don't swear falsely. It says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, right? Only do things that people do them to you, right? Love your neighbor and hate your enemy. That's easy. Guess what? Sometimes people think that's what's good enough. And that's what our world thinks, right? There's not a law against being angry with each other. There's a law against not murdering. And our world is simple. It's good. You can be a good person, but good isn't good enough for Jesus. It's hard. Come to church 3 times a week, praying when you eat, saying a prayer once in a while, maybe open your Bible once a week. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Because you are continually growing. If you have the same thing every single week, if your life looks the exact same, that's not good enough. If your life looks the same as when you just got baptized, as it does now, if you've been baptized 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, if you can't really tell a difference in those, that is not good enough. Because we are to grow. We are to take our Christianity to the next level. Now, I want us to think about this phrase again. You have heard, it was said. You have heard, it was said. This phrase to me, even though Jesus said this 2,000 years ago, is still so relevant today. Now, our situation is a little different, right? They had the old law. That's what Jesus was doing. You've heard it was said, here's the old law, and here I'm making it different. But in our situation, here's what the world has said. Here's what others say. And this describes our world. Our world will say that you can do this or you can do that. Guess what? This is what we can do. The Bible. That is taking our Christianity to the next level. It's not about what others feel. It's not about what others say. It's about your own life, your own spiritual growth, going to the next level. We hear many things said in the world. You've heard class after class, sermon after sermon. Just think about it. If you come every time these doors are open, you hear 2 classes a week and 3 messages a week. You hear 2 sermons and an invitation. So 5 things. 5 things a week. Think about how much that adds up. Think about how long some of us have been Christians, and how long we've been devoted to the Word. Think about all those messages we've heard. What have you done? What have I done? What have you done? You've heard a lot of things that were said. What have you done in your life? What have you done? The world is like the first part. Jesus wants us at the next level. Now, if you notice in Matthew chapter 5, I skipped the beginning of Matthew 5 because I want to save it for the end. So if you look at the beginning of Matthew chapter 5, verses 2 through 12, it says, He opened His mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you, and persecute you, and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before them. Now, one thing that we are taught at school is that a sermon, you have to grab attention at the beginning. You have to make your introduction good. That's why so many people tell stories, or you start with something sad. You get people's attention. And that is exactly what Jesus does with these verses. Some of the most powerful words said of all time. When I think about these verses, these are the words that come to my mind. Humility, real, desire, and loving. Because it's about humbling yourself, knowing that God is the priority. It's about being real. Being real on the inside, being real as a Christian, having a desire for God, and truly loving God. Right now, if you haven't heard anything of what I've said, I'll tell you this. If you want to take your Christianity to the next level, and to me it sums up these verses that are said, is you will not be selfish. You will put God before yourself. And that simply takes care of it. Because if you put God before yourself, you will do everything that you need to do. Now the next verses, Matthew 5, 13 through 16, says, You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. I remember when I was a teenager, and I had first started speaking, and I think it was one of those fifth Wednesday nights where the young men get to come up here and lead service, and I talked about these verses. And I said that these verses remind me of French fries. I remember Barry thought that was the funniest thing of all time. But guess what? That was 6-7 years ago. I still see it the same way. If you have a plain old French fry, it's not any good. I mean, it's pretty good, but not really. When you think about going out to eat at a Mexican restaurant, what do people do? They get that salt shaker and they dump it like crazy. Why? Because salt brings more flavor. It makes it better. And what does Jesus what make the earth good. I don't know if that was correct grammar, but we are what makes the earth better. What makes the earth good. Before Jesus gives all these things that we've looked at, notice that he said what we just read before all of it. Because he said, you are the good of the earth. You are the flavor of the earth. And then Jesus goes and gets specific and talks about different things to do. Because as Christians, we're supposed to be on the next level. We're supposed to be better. We're supposed to be different. I want you to think about your life. You go to work, your family, and if we were to compare your life to non-Christians, would they look any different? Would they look any different? Would they see that we're the salt of the earth? If you go to work and you're not any different than your coworkers, that's a serious problem. If you're not more kind, more loving, more patient, and then giving Jesus to everyone you see, you're not the salt of the earth. Your Christianity isn't at the next level. I want to close this morning by looking at these verses in 2 Peter chapter 1. 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. It says, for this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with steadfastness, and steadfastness with godliness, and godliness with brother affection, and brotherly affection with love. For if these qualities are yours and are increasing, they keep you from being ineffective or unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you think about growing, and you want to grow, look at these verses right here. So this is the best example that I can give you, that anyone can give you, to grow. It says, for this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith. Right? Believing in God, believing in Jesus. That's a great thing. Then you go to virtue, your actual goodness, how good you are. And your virtue with knowledge, learning more, growing more, increasing that faith. And knowledge with self-control. Everything that you've learned, everything that you gain, actually practicing. And with your self-control, steadfastness, or loyalty. So your knowledge, your faith, everything that you've done. And then you practice it, and that creates loyalty to God. And steadfastness with godliness. With godliness. Now, when I first read this, I was like, okay, it's probably going to stop at godliness. That'll be the end. Because being like God, that's the goal. But it doesn't stop at godliness. It says, in godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love. Notice that it goes on. Ask godliness. Why? Because our godliness should be seen. It should be given to others. It doesn't just stop at me. It doesn't just stop at my faith. It goes on. And it's brotherly affection. And it's love. Y'all have heard me speak a lot over the years. You know that almost every single sermon I talk about Mark 12, 30, and 31, where Jesus gives the greatest commandment to love God with all our heart, soul, strength, and mind. And he says, love your neighbor as yourself. Notice that the last thing on this list, to grow, the last step is love. It's love. That's the last step. Now, faith is good, but you don't stop at faith. Keep going. Keep going. Virtue is great, but you don't stop. Knowledge is good, but you don't stop. You keep going. This morning, I want you to understand that your faith needs to be continually growing every single day, reaching the next level, and the next level, and the next level. Because we will never reach good enough. When we are good enough, that is when we understand that we will never be good enough. You are where you need to be. You will understand that you are never where you need to be. This morning, I want to close with something that I made myself. And Jesus gave all these verses, and he said, you have heard it was said. You have heard it was said. Do all these things. I want to close with this. You have heard it was said, go to church. But I say, enjoy going to church. Be a Christian everywhere you go. Take church everywhere you go. It's very easy to walk in here and to put on a smiling face, to show a kind person, and then to leave, and it's all gone. It's all gone. This morning, what I encourage all of us to do is to realize that our Christian life needs to be taken to the next level. It needs to continue to grow. Never stop. Keep going. And keep going. This morning, if you feel like you're stuck, and you just haven't been where you need to be in a long time, you feel like you're not growing, you're not getting any better, you can fix that. One of the best ways to get out of a rut is to have God help you out of that rut. Because we can't get out of it on our own. We need God. This morning, if you haven't been baptized, that is the ultimate way to take your faith to the next level. So this morning, if anyone has any need, please come forward as we stand and sing.